Where are we with AI in business at the moment? This is a short presentation on that in the business enterprise. How can we deliver AI at scale and transform the businesses in a way that we know we can? So let's get to it. So to start talking about that, just give a context of where we are with AI right now. What's the capabilities? We're seeing a lot of AI products out there and services that are really point solutions. So they're targeted, single applications, single business purpose, like chatbots, RAG-based chatbots, so they can give really high value output to internal and external customers and users with a lot of interpreted intelligence and from our business information, Copilot systems to create applications, image analysis in medical diagnosis, for example. Very powerful AI, but point solutions. So it's not really the whole business, it's particular areas of the business. And where we're moving to, you've probably heard the term agentic AI. Well, the technology is becoming available with a fabric or a framework around multiple agents being able to deliver services together. But what's interesting is that they start linking with more than the one IT system that we typically have at the moment. So they're starting to work with all the business systems or a large subset of business systems, which means they're starting to transform the data and have a much bigger impact on the business, broader business processes being enabled by AI, with some level of human oversight. But the complexity of this now goes up a level with agentic AI, and that's why everyone's talking about it. And AI, of course, um, in the next year or two, and we're seeing it now, is becoming more and more baked into every off-the-shelf product that we buy. So with agentic AI and that kind of AI everywhere mentality to technology, we're seeing AI come through in the near future. Looking ahead to the event horizon of really where we can see with confidence, which is typically around two years or so, what we're seeing is a move to AI systems rather than being on top of our IT infrastructure and part of a business process to being both those things, to becoming the IT systems themselves, AI becoming core to our IT technology and products and services, and running a lot of business processes. So that's going to be possible for businesses. We're going to be able to buy services and configure them. That will essentially run business services, and we're going to start to see AI becoming the core to enterprise technologies like our ERP, CRM systems. Rather than added on, it becomes core. And because AI is now running the end-to-end business processes, it enables much faster rates of change. So it can optimize and configure change a lot faster than human-driven change. So we can expect change rate to potentially increase for businesses as well. So if you're struggling to keep up now, yeah, hold on. Um, so that's what's coming. Technically, this is what's possible. So why aren't we seeing it then? Is really the question. Follows on from that. We're not really seeing it. Certainly not in the public sector. Aren't many big AI use cases out there. They're definitely there, and there are some very effective ones, but we're not seeing AI at scale yet at the enterprise. So across entire operations and departments, we're not seeing that yet. We're typically seeing point solutions and good ideas getting as far as POCs, but not being rolled out into business and empowering the business. And this is for a number of reasons. I think it's a maturity journey. So organizations need to learn how to do that well. It's not so easy just to land a technology into a business and just hope it works. It's a whole operating model. It's a culture change. It's a capability that has to be built around that to enable that change. So I think we're seeing relatively low adoption rates, partly because of that. And certainly in the public sector, I think that's a challenge. And the government's own report on digital maturity in public sector shows just how far we are from being able to do that well across the public sector. So another reason I think is that the IT teams don't really have a confidence that they can deliver this. Typically, the board would hire in a consultancy to do this, and so the IT teams don't really mature their capability. They'll have a data science team, but it won't really be embedded into the IT systems or enterprise scale of change. And so that confidence needs to be built, and getting the right resources, the right capability model, and maturity journey built in is a challenge for organizations. Um, but there is a huge opportunity, I think, for all kinds of organizations to start normalizing the use of enterprise AI. So by enterprise, I mean large scale. It's not just a system. It's a system that affects the whole business. If it's a single system, or it's across multiple. So it starts to become a core capability of the business. There's an opportunity to do that because guess what? AI is still just technology and data. That's all AI is. Now, it's true to say that it is very complex data and technology, but it's still data and technology, and the digital maturity spectrum. It's at the far end of the digital spectrum, but it's still just digital technology. It is technology and data working together, and you need the skills to do that at a high maturity level. You need to build those skills. Um, so that's the opportunity in front of us. The bad news is, as I've already mentioned, digital maturity in organizations, the ability to do that very well is rare. And it's typically not in big organizations. It's typically small organizations that can do that, that can pivot fast, change the culture of an organization. It's harder for big organizations. So you tend to see point solutions being delivered by a small team. It's not the whole IT team taking part in that. And we're not seeing the enterprise change yet, but we can. And this is really what I'm going to talk about, is that actually we can start to normalize the use of AI as a technology in a business, providing we use already industry standards. And I know that not all organizations will use the standards, and I'm referring here just to a standard software development lifecycle here. Um, that we can use that as our starting place to understand how we can then build AI into our delivery, into becoming normalized with AI technologies just being another technology. We have to do a few things. We have to focus on three key areas of the development lifecycle. That's data, because actually data is core to this. What's interesting about AI is that the data shapes the technology of the AI. And when you're using the AI, it's the technology that shapes the output of the data. So there really is this hand in glove with data and technology. You really need to understand the data that you're putting through your systems. So you need a high data maturity is the bottom line. The new technology is the AI only technology. So you need some capability in your organization to handle the technology, including the modeling aspect of that. So to change the configuration of those AI systems. And thirdly, is something you already have, is the governance, but managing outcomes. Governance becomes critical with this. And if you've got high maturity in governance, you'll have what you need. Most organizations won't. It's the enabler for achieving safe outcomes swiftly. It should never be a bottleneck. Minimal viable governance achieves the outcomes while managing your risks appropriately. But we need to really focus on that. So this is what I mean. This is the software development lifecycle, and I put ML ops, machine learning operations in there. Essentially, that's AI development, right? So if you put software development, what every software team does, along with ML ops, the creation of AI technology, we're just saying here that we're creating AI technology products. So what have you got to be able to do? Well, you've got to focus on that data. You've really got to understand the data from requirements gathering onwards. If you really understand the nature of your data, you can actually predict the outcome of the AI service, and you can start governing that service from day one because you understand how it's going to behave. So data maturity is important. You've got to govern, manage, understand your data. The technology piece I mentioned, you need a technology capability around AI to manage the configuration and training and deployment of the technology itself. and most importantly, managing the outcomes. When we talk about responsible AI and ethical AI, it's really understanding the outcomes of the AI system, the end-to-end business system that you're building. It's the outcomes of that service. You understand how bias is behaving because you understand your data, you understand how the system works, you understand how the outcomes affect the users. And that's both good and bad, right? It's all systems do this, but it becomes more critical that you understand the outcomes, right? Every IT system has an outcome on the users. You've really got to understand that to be ethical and responsible. So these are the three key areas, and of course, there are other areas. You can't ignore, but they're the three key areas that you've got to focus on. Um, and seeing as you're already doing this in 99% of organizations, you just got to focus on these three key areas. So the takeaways from all of that, there's three key areas to focus on: the data, the technology, and the governance piece. End-to-end governance from day one through to release and operations. Continuous monitoring, of course, becomes more critical. You may well be doing that already for any sensitive services. Um, but the other thing is, around those three capabilities, you need a persistent team. You can't just parachute them in because then you lose that capability. It's fine to scale by parachuting consultants like myself in to deliver increased capability or deliver something specific, but you need to be able to manage this internally. So that persistent capability is needed, and that you don't just parachute consultants in and just point solutions. To build enterprise, you need to build that capability, build the foundations of it, and extend until AI becomes a normal technology for your business. So, really, this is just saying improve your digital maturity is another way to look at this. And a lot of organizations struggle to do the basics. So, mature digital operations is a challenge to have a digital operating model where the culture is really all about managing that service end to end from cradle to grave, and that your governance is appropriate, and that it enables the outcomes. It's ethical, it's transparent, it's easy to use, otherwise people avoid it. It's got to be fit for purpose. And if you've got the right governance in place, the risk management will handle itself. And I know a lot of organizations don't want to go near AI at scale because they're worried about what they'll release, what might happen. But actually, if you've got the right risk management framework in place, which is really easy to do, and the governance running across it. This is just technology, high data input, but it's still technology. So, three key takeaways: data, our technology, and the modeling capability, and managing those outcomes through governance. If you want to know more, get in touch.